In terms of bikes, if you want the best, it has to be hand-laid carbon.
Is the North Star of Allied a bicycle company or a manufacturing company?
It's a bicycle company, and we were really forced to make that decision.
Handmade control or scalable production? That was the choice that Allied Cycle Works made. They began with the belief that vertical integration was the key to success, and it was, at first. But what they discovered is making the right manufacturing in-house matters more than doing all manufacturing in-house. So this is a story about aspiration, international sourcing, and how Made in the USA is a journey with a destination that might be different than you imagine. That's coming up on the Z-axis. The Z-axis is brought to you by Workforce Factor, your onboarding engine for industrial employees. Stick around to the end of the episode to learn more. Welcome to the Z-axis, the podcast about new directions in manufacturing. I'm Peter Zelinski. This episode is about bicycles, but it's also about something bigger. What does Made in the USA really require? What are the parameters? Can a company succeed at American-made production just by deciding to do so? Or are there other requirements? We're in Rogers, Arkansas, at Allied Cycle Works, a high-end bicycle manufacturer that set out to do something daring, defiant, make handmade carbon fiber bicycle frames in the US. They discovered a lot along the way. They learned a lot. They changed the company. They discovered that scaling carbon fiber frames poses huge challenges, but they also found out that there are other components previously unseen that make a lot of sense for American-made production. So here is a real company's real-world journey with American manufacturing.
My name is Sam Pickman. I am Director of Product at Allied Cycle Works. So we are located in Rogers, Arkansas. We employ, I think, roughly around 22 people, and we make high-end carbon fiber bicycles.
What was the dream at the beginning?
We wanted to create the best, highest performance, highest quality bicycles, and to do it all here in the United States.
Sam spent nearly a decade at the world's largest bike company, a company that outsourced nearly everything. He wanted something different. He wanted to know, wouldn't the best production come from making more, not less, in-house? What were you hoping to prove or accomplish by manufacturing frames internally, domestically?
So you come up with a design, come up with an idea, you then go to your suppliers to get it made, and oftentimes you get pushback on how that thing is going to be made, right? And a lot of times that pushback kind of flies in the face of the goals that you're trying to achieve on the product. And the companies who are making the parts, they don't like to change, right? A manufacturing facility is it's a big machine. By doing it ourselves, the sort of barrier to try new things would be gone.
In-house manufacturing brings innovation freedom. So it wasn't just patriotism, but also this freedom to make design changes. But carbon fiber composite, strong, lightweight material, stronger than metal, is an advanced material that happens to be made with a highly manual process. Composites is an advanced material coupled with a non-advanced production process.
Just hit it on the head, right? So composites themselves are incredibly advanced. They give engineers the ability to control the characteristics of a product in a way that you just can't do with metals. And it's because composites are literally, it's like a textile. They're fibers, and they're insanely strong in one direction. So very, very high tech. Now, the flip side of that is there's no real automated way to work with high-end composites. You have to literally hand lay every ply. Now, there are some automated processes out there, but they do not yield as high-end a product as doing it by laying it by hand. And by high end, I mean really the strength to weight ratio. In terms of bikes, if you want the best, it has to be hand-laid carbon. For one, manufacturing in general is challenging. Now, put on top of that a process that requires a ton of manual labor. In order to scale it, you scale it literally by just finding more people and training more people. Now, that is a very difficult way to scale a manufacturing facility. So what it means is, you're paying for a very high labor rate for something that's being done overseas at a much, much cheaper level. But even the money aside, the biggest issue is just being able to achieve scale. So you train people, you try to build, you can only grow so quickly. And if you get an opportunity to deliver more product in the market, like you have a hot product that's selling really great and you have the ability to grow the business, it's insanely hard to capture it because you cannot scale your workforce fast enough.
There's another factor apart from the labor, and it's the way that a product becomes easier to manufacture in a place where there's a lot of manufacturing of that product. It's because of how infrastructure grows up around it, nearby infrastructure that Allied in its location just didn't have.
Material supplier was in California, right? So you have materials being produced there and then has to be cold shipped here. In these other sort of big manufacturing countries and cities, that's just not the case. Just everything's right there, which makes it really simple.
Still, Allied Cycle Works thought it could succeed against global infrastructure and economics. There was even a moment when global events took a dramatic turn. Did you ever come close to making it work?
The peak of that was right around pandemic time. We could continue to supply the market with product. And there was a lot of factories in Asia that just shut down. During that time frame, we had some great months and great stretches, but we were making a very limited group of products. And then we launched a new bike, kind of tail end of pandemic, and we had just insane demand for it, really good demand for it. But it was a harder product to produce. We struggled to meet it, and it nearly killed us.
The pandemic proved the strength and the fragility of Allied's model. Strength. Local production meant they could keep producing during a time of supply chain challenge. Fragility. Escalating demand meant meeting that demand required more people. What did you come to understand about the DNA of this company?
It's a bicycle company, and we were really forced to make that decision. Once the prices kind of like dropped out and supply was everywhere, our demand started to dry up, but our prices had to stay where they were.
What was the year the company made that decision? The decision that we are a bike maker and we are willing to let go of composite part production in order to keep being a bike maker.
So we made the decision probably in 2023 and then kind of started to investigate. These are not things that can happen overnight. It took us probably about 18 months to kind of like really make the transition away from it.
Allied stopped making bicycle frames in Arkansas, but something unexpected had already changed in the factory. They continued production, just production of different components. How did CNC machining first come into this company, this operation?
Yeah, so when we first started, we did no machining, zero machining. We were just making carbon parts. So in order to make a carbon part, you need a tool, and tooling is expensive. So we bought some CNC machines, and then we worked with a local company who both sells the machines, but will also do training and kind of like help you integrate CNC machines into your company.
This company is Phillips.
This company is Phillips, and they had an awesome guy by the name of Ben, and he basically just lived here and worked here for, it was probably about a month and a half, and helped us tool our first parts here.
Ben Vandehoff of Phillips Corporation, the CNC machine tool provider. To make tooling for composites, Allied learned machining, but it didn't stop with tooling.
The idea of designing a part and then being given the ability to then just program a toolpath and make that thing in a short period of time just like really flipped something in my brain. And so we just started looking at our lineup like, hey, what are parts that we could make? And it definitely did, I said unlock a couple times, but it unlocked something in our creativity, and our understanding of machining sort of like opened up kind of a design window into like, okay, we can try to make all these cool little parts and pieces for our bikes.
Allied began determined to make carbon fiber composite bike frames internally. And part of doing that was the necessity of having the tooling for that composites made internally. That led you to machining. Ultimately, you surrendered on being able to make the frames cost effectively, but along the way, you had gotten that machining capability, and through that, you discovered that parts that you never would have conceived of making internally, you now can.
Yeah.
And these are machined parts, but they are complex machined parts. It's a 5-axis machining center you're using, and that is for access to surfaces and other features at various different orientations of the part. Yep. And as you said, through that capability, you're now making some parts you would have never dreamed of designing or specifying for the bike.
As we were ramping down making carbon parts here, we sort of had this ability to be able to make additional parts, and our demand was kind of increasing at the same time. And we were always sort of like chasing to be able to match our demand for the bikes for all these aluminum parts that we were making. We were always kind of like a little bit on the back foot. And again, Ben at Phillips just sort of called them up. We're like, hey, these are the challenges we're having. And he recommended bringing in some automation into the shop and kind of just made it real simple for us.
Now you're doing some geometrically complex parts on a 5-axis machine that is robot loaded and runs through the night.
Yeah.
Allied didn't set out to be a machining provider, but machining is the form of production that proved scalable for the long term. So the frames are no longer made in the US, but look at an Allied bike, look at the aluminum parts. Many of those parts are made in the US. What is your advice to other manufacturing organizations that, if they live long enough, will face a similar transition moment?
Hand labor in the United States is just expensive, just is what it is. There are things to be made in the United States, and I think it still makes perfect sense to do it. You can add a level of automation to where your manufacturing is competitive. I would encourage people to try to do things here, but I would also encourage them to just make sure that they're doing things that really make sense. Even though there are challenges to doing it here, it's also just very rewarding to be able to produce things yourself. And I think in the end, depending on what the product is, it can result in something that's really special, especially if your design is very close to where the manufacturing is happening.
Allied Cycle Works adapted. They discovered what production is viable for the US. They began with the dream of handmade carbon fiber bike frames, and the lesson they learned is not, you can't make it here. The lesson they learned is that to find the right components to make here, the parts that rely on technology, on automation, that's the production that is set for scaling in the US. Thank you, Allied Cycle Works, for hosting us. We're working on another episode, a bonus with Allied, about the way that they developed, communicated, established a quality system internally. We're going to drop that episode soon. The Z-Axis is a production of Edge Factor. I'm Peter Zelinski. Find more of my stuff at zelinskireport.com. If you like the show, please subscribe. It really helps us. Until next time, hold your tolerances tight, your faith and family tighter, hold lightly to everything else. See you soon. Workforce Factor is the new, customizable onboarding and upskilling engine for industrial employers. Where should training begin? How can skills development continue as employees grow? Workforce Factor is your company's tailor-made platform for addressing this challenge. Possibilities include technical courses, introductions to machining, welding, additive manufacturing, and more. Personal skill courses, introductions to time management, workplace ethics, financial literacy, and more. We are working with companies ready to systemize the approach to developing promising employees into skilled professionals. Contact Workforce Factor today.